Greetings and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is hiding and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys right now with a live 1 vs 1, fresh from the ladder, featuring spawning in the north. It's going to be the Overcommand West forces of HighFive. And spawning in the south, it is going to be the United States forces of Vodka Company. Yeah, I think I've cast Vodka Company before. Don't really remember that much about him, but or her. But as far as I know, he is not actually playing Wasted because he seemed to be actually like vaguely coordinated last time. I think if your name is Vodka Company, you should actually be smashed like all the time that you're playing. I think it's a little deceptive otherwise. But what can I say? I'm a highly principled and irregular guy in that way. Yeah, as for HighFive, name rings a bell, but I can't really say I actually remember much about him. But this was the top-rated live game on the live games lobby. I didn't really see any big names just now. The map, of course, is going to be Lost Glider. This is still one of the maps which actually I feel like I've cast the least. And I think it does get vetoed a lot. But anyway, always nice to cast. And I can't think of a dull game that I've cast on this map, actually. It is quite a dynamic and action-packed map. So kind of looking forward to seeing what kind of a game this is going to turn out to be. What kind of action we're going to see here. Looks like we've got some initial scuffles underway. Vodka Company, he's gone ahead and chosen his commander like pretty quickly here. He's gone for the good old infantry company. Oh, sorry, rifle company, my bad. So yeah, he's going to have the flamethrowers. He's going to have the, what is it, the sprint, what is it called, like Oorah or something? Sorry, yeah, fire up, that's it. Yeah, he's going to have the Easy 8 in the late game, which is pretty cool. So yeah, a good solid all-round commander. Not one that we see picked that often these days for the United States forces, but that is one of the cool things about USF. You know, they've got like quite a few viable commanders. So that's cool. HighFive, let's see what he's rocking with. So he's got the Panzer Elite, he's got the Luftwaffe Ground Forces, and he's got the Scavenge Doctrine. So 3 solid commanders in my opinion, and 3 that can, I mean, they can all work on this map. I mean, it is possible for them all to work. I would have thought this is a Luftwaffe Ground Forces / Scavenge Doctrine map mainly, just because it's got good numbers of structures and good locations, and I think that this game's probably going to be decided in the early and mid phases, and Panzer Elite doesn't really start hitting until kind of the late mid / late game, once you've got some vehicles that can make use of the AP rounds, and once you've got the money to bring in a Storm Tiger, if that's your plan. So anyway, yeah, we'll have to see. Let's keep an eye on what HighFive decides to do in that regard. Let's check out these builds here. We can already see Vodka Company doing something totes awkward here. He's gone up to 4 squads of rear echelons. This is something that Captain Sprice used to do with some regularity, and I think if you've got the control and you've got the attention and you're good enough at making rear echelons, I think if you've got the experience, if you have enough reps under your belt with this kind of a build, it can be really, really potent. Let's not forget rear echelon companies. I think it's at 2 stars of veterancy they get the 5th man in the squad, or is it 3 stars? Sorry, no, it's 3. But that makes them incredibly durable in combat, and once you have BARs unlocked, the fact that the rest of the guys in the squad aren't riflemen hooning away with their rifles, I mean, they basically become almost as good as riflemen. They cost a lot less supply, they're cheaper to reinforce, yeah, they're just, you can totally play like rear echelons. You can get like many squads, as we see here from Vodka Company. In fact, how much is a rear echelon squad anyway? 200 manpower, yeah, so pretty cheap. HighFive is doing things much more orthodox. He's just got 3 squads of Volks off the bat. He's also going for the battle group at HQ, so that is going to be the tech of choice for our Overcommand player. And if we look at the map, we can see, pretty much as expected, the American player well, he has been dominating. Looks like HighFive just chipping away a little bit more. Wow, he's gone ahead and picked Luftwaffe Ground Forces. So both players now locked in. And locked in blind as well. There's been no tells here, so both these players just picking commanders that they fancy using rather than trying to counter-pick or wait and see. An interesting approach. Nice little run by here. These Volksgrenadiers going to try and get the cutoff here, which would be sweet. But it looks like they're actually going to harass this ambulance. Here comes the Faust. That's a good hit. Is there any other units nearby that could support here? We've also got a fighting position in an interesting... actually, this is a great position for a fighting position. The medics are going to get out. Now, the Volksgrenadiers are here. They need to, like, focus fire the ambulance. And they're not going to be able to do that. They're going to have to fall back. I think the flamethrower from the rear echelons actually, like, almost killed that ambulance. It looked like it did anyway. So let's see, in the west, Volksgrenadiers fighting rear echelons. They should be able to take that, actually. Vodka Company will be wanting to send some support over there. The ambulance, of course, now surviving. Going to be repaired, which is pretty awesome. Another nice thing about rear echelons, of course, is if you really want the medics, you can pop the medics out and put the rear echelons in the ambulance, which is useful very rarely. Oh my goodness me, HighFive, what are you doing? He is going for a league gun. So he's going to get this Ligon out here. This is a pretty early lag. I mean, fair enough. When you need a lag, you need a lag. I don't think he necessarily needs one, but when you want a lag, you want a lag, I guess. I don't know. The reason, if I sound like deflated and I'm not too enthusiastic, it's just that this is 330 manpower in a unit which has such low impact, and to get it this early is, I mean, that's a big commit. That's 330 manpower. You know, that could be like another squad, another good squad. So anyway, we'll have to see what he can make of it. And I don't mind it on this map, actually. I think this is one of the maps where it's like easier to hold on to a light gun, and I also think that, you know, you can have it in a reasonably safe position somewhere in mid and have it cover like a lot of relevant positions on the map. So we'll see. This light gun might do well. Looks like the US player though going to be picking up a mortar here, so there's going to be some indirect fire options for the American player as well. That's the sound of the lag. Already hooning out some rounds here from the base. And perhaps this is, perhaps, you know, as I was saying earlier, this map does have a lot of buildings on it, and like the light gun is pretty much OKW's, like that's what they do if your opponent has units in buildings. So maybe it's a kind of slightly more contextual choice going for that light gun. Not quite sure. We'll see. What's the MG34 is in a reasonable building. I'm sure he'd love to get that into the church, but it's not going to be an option right now. Light gun going to creep forward, and it's now going to take some shots at this fighting position. Okay, that's totally appropriate. Yeah, I forgot about this fighting position. Okay, if you've scouted that the US player has gone for a fighting position, I guess getting a lag makes a lot of sense, because the lag actually does deal with the fighting position quickly and efficiently usually. So that actually makes a lot of sense. The American mortar is here though, and if the lag's firing at the fighting position, it's not going to be able to spare some shells for this mortar. So this is probably going to be a fight that the US mortar will win. It's monstrous rate of fire here, and it's down to HighFive to reposition this crew here. They're quite clustered. Okay, yeah, he does move them. Wow, and no critical hits coming down from the US mortar. A touch unlucky, I feel, there for Vodka Company. Getting some damage onto the light gun, but I'm sure he had higher hopes for that barrage. Map control right now, of course, solidly favouring the American player, as you might expect in any game at the sub 10 minute mark. But in the south, there are some stray infantry units for the Axis player, just kind of doing their thing. These Storm Pioneers are probably in need of some orders. They look to be a little idle there. Oh yeah, of course, well, in case you hadn't seen already, this captain's been on the field for some time, and there's a Stuart coming. Hooray, tech choices for the American player. So the Stuart's a really nice choice. I like the Stuart a lot. I mean, it's going to be effective against all these units. There is a Kettenwerfer coming out with really nice timing, though, for HighFive, which is going to give him some, like, you know, some play against the Stuart. But yeah, I think the Stuart's a really nice choice. One Kettenwerfer's not so bad, and he'll be unlucky to lose, or like make a mistake to lose that Stuart to a Kettenwerfer. So I feel pretty good about Vodka Company's position in these matches. Whoa, these Volksgrenadiers getting absolutely burninated down. That cover definitely not working to their advantage there. Scoreline situation, we've got about like 50 points separating these two players. So far, it's been like a real mixed bag of like open field skirmishing. No big fights involving most of the units from both teams at all. So yeah, both these players trying to fight wide. MG34 finally finding an opportunity to start firing, going to start suppressing this captain, and that will be a fallback actually. Looks like the mortar's going to respond though. Boom, getting some hits. And the rate of fire on that US mortar is just like absolutely sinister, isn't it? And you can see the synergy here between the commander pick for Vodka Company and the amount of rear echelons he's gone for. Of course, the flamethrowers. You know, that's going to give him a lot of burning power there, having 4 squads of them. Oh, Stuart manages to find an exposed weapon team here. Opportunity for a squad wipe. Depends how these hits come through. Oh, actually, that shot was taken at the light gun. And now the Kettenwerfer makes its presence known, and that will push back the light... Pardon me, the light tank for now. And everything pretty much looking reasonably standard. HighFive here. I mean, he's going to have to get some map control soon because he needs to try and hold at least half the map. So he's going to grab this fuel point. That's vital. He has crucially held on to a VP, which means that there's still like not the biggest VP gap in the world. So that's giving him some hope here. And shortly... Oh, no, wait, they unlock at 3 CPs, not 4. Okay, so he does have the option to call in Fallschirmjägers right now, which, he, could be pretty disruptive. And they are another Faust, like an ambush Faust even. So if he gets like a Faust or a Kettenwerfer hit onto this Stuart, he can look to use the Fallschirmjäger to try and complete a kill that. And it looks like, I mean, he's bubbling up some manpower here, so it seems like he might be going for that. He's also kind of got nearly enough fuel for like Schwerpanzer, so he might want to think about getting another Schwerer Schlepper truck here soon. Looks like this indirect fire war is continuing. The US mortar is kind of winning that one. This light getting pretty hit up, actually. It's kind of wounded. Has a star of veterancy. It would be a shame to lose that here. And here come the Fallschirmjäger. And looks like they're just going to choose a quiet location to spawn and harass a VP. But, I mean, the Stuart's on this flank, and I think that the Stuart was scouted on this flank like scant seconds or maybe even less than a second after those Fallschirmjäger popped out the building. And that's a shame because, look, yeah, now the Stuart's just going to back up. That's going to take care of the Fallschirmjägers. They're going to have to fall back. There we go. And, in fact, the Stuart can even pursue. There is, like, nothing for support over on this side of the map. Meanwhile, got some loose skirmishing down here in the south. A couple of squads of Volks looking to displace this captain. Second mortar, though, out for the American player. Going to be supporting, and I imagine the captain from this position will be able to take this fight if the mortar hits come through. Additionally, fighting in mid looks like a sneaky Kettenwerfer going to be engaging camo and creeping on up into mid. That is so risky. He's going to use this to actually besiege down the fighting position. This is so risky. A couple of squads are in the hood and they're going to start firing, but I don't think there's anything they're going to be able to do. A third round from this Kettenwerfer is going to be all she wrote for that fighting position, and then the snap fallback can ensure the survival. So that was actually a pretty nice trick there from HighFive. Like what I see there. That's pretty cool. Incendiary grenade going to come down onto the captain here, but Vodka Company is paying attention, and the captain's going to get out of there. That's probably a squad that wants a fallback there.
We're getting chewed up here.
And that's okay. This Stuart, I always find it hard to believe that the Stuart doesn't have a Star of Veterancy already, but I guess it hasn't been fighting that continuously. But I don't know. It's been solid, and it has bought the field control that the American player was looking for. HighFive actually in danger of being bottlenecked on manpower. He's got Fallschirmjägers and other units now falling back, beginning to stack up a little bit. Yeah, with all these units falling back, he is going to be like bottlenecked on manpower here briefly. He should have enough to reinforce all these squads without having to actually waste any time, I think. But it's close. Here comes that Schwerer Max Schlepper, so I'm guessing this is going to be a Schwerpanzer HQ here. And I have to say, I kind of like HighFive's play so far. It's been very conservative, very risk-averse. And I kind of think when you're playing against USF, that's kind of how it has to be. Now the Fallschirmjägers are going to be able to take a nice fight here at long range, using the FG-42 assault rifle, I guess you would call it, to do a lot of damage. Oh, fighting position has been replaced, though. The rear echelon's quick to replace that one. Nicely for HighFive, because that is just in a good position. Kettenwerfer finds the Stuart here briefly, but I think it's not going to be enough. Rear echelons are in the hood to defend. The mortars are hooning in. These Volksgrenadiers are on their last legs, so they're going to have to fall back here momentarily. And HighFive is just kind of getting pushed back on every front right now. Solid defensive play, and he's yet to have any squad wipes inflicted against him, but I don't know, he's playing with fire here. These Volksgrenadiers in particular are making me so nervous, squeezing every last ounce of value out of them by trying to stay and take this point. Looks like a move out here, going to be pushing into the south here with a large amount of forces. MG-34 going to catch these rear echelons in arc, and that will force a fallback. Volks, Fallschirmjägers going to move on in to sweep them up. And this represents a considerable amount of force. I reckon the Stuart might want to think about cycling down to south. Or he could just transfer some of his force from the center here and leave the Stuart garrisoning north. We'll have to keep an eye here what Vodka Company's going to choose, how he's going to choose to distribute his forces here. These Storm Pioneers also kind of getting a nice engagement against those riflemen. Oh my goodness, but the mortars are just gross. Giving that squad down. And whoa, he's putting his Schwerpanzer HQ in, like, wow, I really thought he was going to put this down in his base, actually. And, like, this is such a defensive position. It is on the doorstep of his base, and it's covering, like, you know, he's covering his cutoff, which is totally relevant. A gun crew has been lost. So that's the Kettenwerfer. The Kettenwerfer is down, so there we go. Finally, a squad wipe is achieved, and without the Kettenwerfer, this Stuart, like, look at the top left. Like, tell me what actually really beats the Stuart up there. Not a lot, really. Gonna have to get a very lucky series of Fausts in. The Schwerpanzer HQ getting some damn good damage onto the light tank, though. Oh, damaged Fallschirmjägers having to fall back through a very dangerous route. They should get out of here, but that is... Oh, this captain here with the Tommy gun going to be able to put additional damage onto them. One man remains here. Okay, no danger of a squad wipe there, but that was much closer than I thought it was going to be. Probably much closer than HighFive would have liked it to have been as well. HighFive's advances, you can see on the minimap, are going unchecked in the south, so he's going to be able to grab a munitions point and stuff like that. But the main story is the pressure that the American player is being able to apply. This MG-34 coming from an unexpected angle, though, is really nice. I like that a lot. Oh, and the light gun starting to get some spicy hits in as well. The American position here in mid is actually getting taxed. Volksgrenadiers coming in from the rear as well. So a nice hooking flank going down the sort of south, down the right, and then coming in from the rear. He can get a Faust on this Stuart if he's paying attention here, can HighFive. And I think he is. Yep, there comes the Faust. The Stuart crucially wounded now. Turbo low. Now there are no other units to support. And this MG34 has gone down. The light gun also has gone down to the mortar. And HighFive is now hemorrhaging units, and he can ill afford to do so. He's just about managed to scrape together a semblance of map control. But how is he ever going to challenge this position here? Look how many US forces there are with the fantastic church, with a fighting position covering. He can upgrade that with a 50 cal, which I would like to see him do. Assuming it's facing like I'm guessing it's facing like this, and he'll be glad to have a 50 cal covering that area as this game goes on, I'm sure. But I mean, look at the top left, look at the top right. It's 37 supply, under 60. Tell me whose army here you like best, because I sure as hell know. I like Vodka Company's position in this game much better. 3-star mortar, 1-star mortar, tons of veterancy over this infantry as well. Compare and contrast, HighFive just does not have that amount of veterancy. So, oh goodness me, these Fallschirmjägers running straight into a captain here. I think HighFive just not paying attention there. Wow. And again, he just can't afford to do this. Like, I don't think he's out of this game yet, but it's getting very close. And now these Storm Pioneers will likewise probably just be taking a ton of fire and being cut down. Wow, HighFive is actually just going to GG. I think he just feels like there's nothing else he can do in this game. Wow, and I really feel for him there. Like, he was making some sweet moves. I liked the flank in mid where he came in with the MG34 here and the Volks around the rear. I liked the fact that he sent like a considerable amount of his forces to attack this fuel point and then like hook around here like this, because I think he realized like just skirmishing on the doorstep of his base, like in this region here, and trying to win an indirect fire war with like 2 American mortars was just never going to happen. So I think he realized that he needed to pivot and change his tactics, but it's just like in doing so, he hemorrhaged his MG team, he lost the Kettenwerfer just before that, and then he lost the Leig. Like, those 3 units being lost in rapid succession pretty much ripped the heart out of HighFive's forces. Without the Kettenwerfer, he couldn't really answer the Stuart. Without the Leig gun, he had, like, not even a tiny bit of pressure that he could apply to these structures and these weapon teams in mid. And, you know, like I say, I mean, he's just way down on supply. He has the inferior force by far. I think if he was playing for serious money on the line, you can definitely stay in this game. And I don't think he's down at, like, 0% odds to win, but it would have been a hard fight, and I think HighFive has seen enough. And it kind of, I don't know, I feel for him a little bit, because I think he actually played like a reasonable game. But Vodka Company was just way too up together. He knew, like, you can tell, like, he just knows how to play this map. Like, he knew that this is the key area to hold, and then he like used this building here and this building here opportunistically to answer HighFive's movements. And it was just really nice. Plus, I love a good old rear echelon spicy build with flamethrowers. That's just, I haven't seen that for like months. So that is nice to see from Vodka Company. Man, look at this at the close, stacking like nearly 900 manpower as well. Wow. So anyway, yeah, a little bit of a quick game there, but nothing wrong with that. Hopefully I'll be casting some more Company of Heroes 2 soon, and of course the finals from the Artifact Cup. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, and for now, this is Magpie842 signing out.